What's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode. So I'm gonna be talking to you guys today about window tints. Now, my Mini Cooper behind me has window tint on it. Now, this tint that you guys see here is 10 years old, and this has definitely seen better days. So I've already removed the driver's side front window and the rear window tints. I took them off, and it looks a heck of a lot better. Now, this here is what I have. So this is the old tint, and thankfully, this has come out in one single piece. I haven't had to worry about like little strips, little chicken strips at a time. Thankfully, it's all come out pretty easily. I had to use a heat gun and I had to use a razor to get it done, but I have learned a couple things as I'm going along this process. So with those two windows done, I started to work on the rear hatch. So what I'm gonna be doing today is showing you guys how to go from the old window tint that, let's say, is, you know, really neglected or whatever, to either plain windows, or I'm gonna show you guys how to get it ready so that you can get it tinted again. Now, that's what I'm gonna be doing with my Mini. So I'm gonna be getting a ceramic tint on it. No, those birds are not gonna be helping me do this stuff, but they are super annoying. I'm gonna be getting all the windows tinted on my Mini, but what I'm gonna do first is take off all the old tint so that I can save some money on labor. So if I can get it so that the shop that's gonna be doing this work is only gonna be putting the window tint on, I'll be able to save myself a little bit of money. Taking the old film off of the windows is not a difficult process. It might be a little bit time consuming and repetitive, but knock on wood, the window tint comes off easy for you. So what I've noticed is that as I apply a little bit more heat onto the film, the residue doesn't actually separate from the film. So when tint is made, you'll have the window tint and a residue slash glue that's on there that is put onto the glass. Now, if the window film comes off and the residue slash adhesive doesn't, you're gonna be stuck with cleaning this stuff up and removing it afterwards. So knock on wood, these both come off in the same shot. If they don't, I'm gonna show you how to take both of them off, or take this off and then take this off. But let me show you what I'm working with right here. So you can see on the left here that this side here is a little bit lighter than this side, because this is with tint, this here is without tint. This is the regular clear glass. So while taking this tint off, I realized that if you just pull this off and just tug, the adhesive may separate from the actual tint. So if you use a little bit of heat and you put heat into the entire film before you go ahead and pull, it is way more likely that all of this comes out in one shot. I applied heat to this entire rear section here, and literally no adhesive separated from the tint. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that, and knock on wood, this works, because if it doesn't, you're gonna have to take all the residue off, and it's a pain in the butt when you have to take it out of either these little grooves here or from these little lines. If you cut or break any of these lines, the filament here, the little heating part, will not work. So just keep that in mind. Try and be safe when you're doing this stuff. This here is worst case scenario and the hardest part to do. Now, take note, I also don't have an interior trim piece, so this may be a little bit more difficult on your car. But just keep in mind that if there is window tint on here with your plastic trim piece, the tint is actually gonna go past the window. So you may have to pull something up to get access to it. So if this here all goes according to plan, I will only really need the heat gun, and I shouldn't need the razor blade. So this here is to take off of any excess residue. This is to put heat into the window film. So I'm gonna be using this on the high setting, probably at about a 6-inch distance from the window, and I'm gonna apply heat into this. So step one when you guys are doing this is you're gonna need to find some sort of edge. So I'm gonna use this only because I've already done this side, but it's not that difficult to do. If you can put a little bit of heat into this and then just start picking at an edge like this, you can see that you can start peeling it up. So if you do that, you'll have a starting point, and then you're gonna work your way across the window. So I'm starting off just from left to right. You guys can do however you want. You can do up and down or whatever. But once you have something that you can hold onto, you're gonna then grab your heat gun, put it on high, and you're gonna heat the film that you want to lift. Now, you only ever wanna pull it off when it's warm. So I am literally just pulling on this very slowly, very gently, and it's coming off. So when you're taking this off, you're not really gonna wanna try and tug. You just wanna kind of encourage it so it comes off. So only peel it when this is warm. Now, don't ever keep the heat gun in one spot, because if you do, you have the chance of damaging it. So you could either melt the tint onto the glass, or you just might be able to cause other damage. Just keep it moving, and try not to get it so that it's too hot. But when it's warm like this, you can see that it's coming off nicely, and there's no residue that's coming off of it. It's not separating, which is the key part. So if you guys can do this also outside on a nice sunny day, it'll soften up the tint and it'll make it come off nice and easily. You may not even need to use a heat gun. But You can see this is all coming out in one sheet. So I'm gonna keep pulling off of the tint, I'm gonna keep applying heat to it, and I should in essence be able to take the entire thing off without having any glue transfer onto the glass. And just like that, the entire piece has come off. No tears, no nothing. Now, can you guys tell right there? I'm really hoping you guys can see this on camera, but the actual tint right here, you can see it's degrading. So it's not exactly working as it should. So there you go. So if this is cold, this will want to separate super easily. So the key part is put heat into the tint. See how easy that splits? So with this aside, I'm going to show you how to do the exact same thing to the other windows. So let me show you how quickly you can actually take off this tint once you have a corner picked. Now, if you guys have a little razor blade like this might help you get the initial edge up. Try and go on an angle so that you're going more aggressive onto the tint and less aggressive on the actual glass, because you can actually scratch the glass with something like this. So this little part here, can you see how there's a little bit of residue on the top? So if you just pull hard, you'll be able to see that there's adhesive that is transferred over. So you sometimes can get lucky, but can you see how it's like skipping? And that there is all adhesive. So we're gonna have to remove that. But once you put heat into this, it's not going to do that. So using the heat gun, put some heat into this side, and then once it's warm, you can peel back on it, put a little bit of pressure, and it will separate without leaving any adhesive behind. Look at how clean that is. And then you can keep going until the entire glass is crystal clear. So see this? Nothing? See that? There's adhesive. You can feel that when you rub your finger over it. All this, clear. So the passenger side tint, if you guys can tell, has a lot of nicks, a lot of imperfections in it, and it might be a little bit difficult to see, but can you see that? This here are, like all of this is all imperfections and just like crap that's in the actual film. So if you use the wrong cleaner on any kind of window tint, you may, in theory, damage it. So that's why I'm taking this off. So I had the exact same thing here that you guys are seeing on this glass. I saw this exact same thing for both of the front windows. Take a look at that. Can you guys see that? It's pretty atrocious. So I'm just going to continue that and remove the entire window tint for this front window. So I have the window tint off of the actual glass, at least on the top part up here. Now, keep in mind that when people professionally window tint their glass, they cover the entire window, and they also get about a good like 1/4 inch down on the bottom. So that's the stuff that you're not really going to see. It allows it so that you can put the window down and up, and it's not ever gonna pick up at an edge. So when you're taking it out, you need to be sure that you pull out that little extra material too, and you have to make sure that this is all warm while you peel it, because if it's cold, it's going to tear, and you're gonna leave that little amount of tint still down there. And at that point, you're gonna probably have to remove your door panel and the entire door card and everything else that's covering up the glass itself. So this top corner here, we removed the tint without any heat. You can see that there's still the adhesive. So I'm gonna be using my little razor blade. Now this is a brand new one. Do not use an old one, because you want a perfectly straight edge so you can pull up and remove any of the adhesive without damaging the glass. So get it and put it at an angle, very low to the glass, not up like this. You wanna have it very low. And then just glide it up over the glass, and then you'll be able to see the adhesive literally come off with the blade. Clean it off every once in a while, but just drag it over top, and you'll be able to see the adhesive come off. So that adhesive is still stuck to the glass. Now, once this is cleaned off of any of the adhesive, you can use a regular glass cleaner and a microfiber towel to clean this up to make this crystal clear. So after everything's all said and done, you should have something that looks just like this. So if you want, you can keep this like the regular clear glass it is, or you can get this ready for tint. And that is the route that I am going. Now, you guys know those like really tiny dots that are found typically on the outside perimeter of a glass? If you want to clean up what's in between there, you can't exactly get the razor blade in between each of those little crevices because the little black parts are raised from the surface. So what I like using is something like this. It's a little like Scotch Guard kind of thing, but it's way softer than Scotch Guard. But it's aggressive enough that it'll pick up any kind of imperfection that's on the glass. If there was any adhesive that was found on any of those lines, I would use this. Same thing goes for those black dots. The heat gun though, honestly, is a lifesaver. If I didn't have that, I'd be spending so much time taking that adhesive off because it wouldn't come off with the tint. If you guys want to find any of this stuff or the heat gun, you guys can find more information in the description box. Now, one thing that I do want to show you guys afterwards is I'm going to be putting ceramic tint on both the Z and the Mini. Now, when I go to the actual shop that's going to be doing all this stuff, I'm going to show you why. Because they've got a pretty cool demonstration they showed me. I want to show you guys the same thing. It sold me on the upgraded ceramic tint. Now, honestly, it's not even that much more of an upgrade in price, but it's definitely worth it when you consider the benefits of it. Anyways, guys, if you have any further questions or if you guys have any other better techniques as to how to remove this stuff, let me know. Comment section's down there. I'm all for learning just as much as you guys are. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.